Hello and welcome to House of Cult. My name is Alessandro, and with me is Ariel Salsa, the owner and founder of the Pretty Cult. Today, we are so honored to welcome Tetrarch guitarist, as well as the first ever female Jackson guitar signature artist, Diamond Rowe, to the show. Diamond and Tetrarch are releasing their highly anticipated third studio album, The Ugly Side of Me, on May 9th, day after my birthday, via Napalm Records. Thank you so much for joining us, Diamond. How's your day going so far?
It's going good. Thank y'all for having me. It's technically a little early for me, not for most people, but probably for me it's a little early. So I'm just getting my day going.
That's
That's
cool.
cool.
Are you based in LA as well?
Yeah, I'm in LA right now.
Cool, right on.
Mhm.
Are you
Okay.
enjoying this gloomy weather that we have right now?
I was literally about to say that. I was
Yeah.
like, it's pretty gloom and doom today, but it's fine. I guess we can afford a gloomy day every now and then. So
I love it personally.
usually I do love a good gloomy rainy day. Today I have a lot of stuff to do and it's making me want to take a nap. But like and
Okay.
I literally just
Yeah.
woke up. But usually I love a good gloomy day. So we'll see how the day goes. I might end up napping. We'll see.
Okay, right on,
Yeah.
right on. That sounds good.
Are you more of a night owl type person?
Yeah, when I feel like I used to be kind of an early bird, and over the years now, I do tend to wake up more in the evening and like start wanting to do everything as it's night's coming, which is so bizarre. It's like my circadian rhythm is off. But yeah, I would say if I had to pick one, I'm more of a night owl for sure.
Right on.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I just want to kind of start off, touching on, the beginning of your journey as a musician and a
Yeah.
songwriter. You know, what was it about music that first, really resonated with you on a deep, emotional, and profound level that ultimately inspired you to pick up the guitar? Was there like a specific defining moment or a particular song that you heard or an artist that kind of lit that spark within you?
I would say like I've always been a music fan. My dad's in the music business, and then my mom was in the music business, so that's how they met.
Oh,
And so
nice.
I've always kind of been like, around music my whole life. But when I was, a young kid, like in elementary school and stuff like that, it was more so like whatever, like pop and hip hop and stuff they were playing on the radio. So it wasn't like I wasn't like a deep like fan of anything, but I did always enjoy music. Um, when I was in seventh grade, I ended up going to a private school, and my brother is 3 years older than me. He went as well, and there was a girl in his grade that was like really. Her name was is Ashley, and she was like so we had to wear like skirts and like button up shirts
Yeah.
and like all of that, and so she was like very eccentric as you could be, like with us all looking the same. So, like, she wore like black knee-high socks and like thick eyeliner, and like she was just really cool. And like, I don't know why I gravitated towards her. Um, but when you like get to know someone older than you when you're young, you kind of start looking up to them. And like, so she was always talking about like Kurt Cobain and Nirvana, and just like she liked bands like, I don't know, she liked Pearl Jam and also bands like Thursday and just stuff
Hell
like
yeah.
that. And so I remember she just kept talking about Kurt Cobain all the time, kept talking about Kurt Cobain. So finally I was like, I'm gonna go check out this guy she's like always talking about. And I went to a CD store at the time and I bought two CDs. My mom took me, I bought Nirvana's Greatest Hits. Actually, I bought three. I bought Nirvana's Greatest Hits. I bought their MTV Unplugged album. And then I also bought System of a Down's Toxicity because I was like, I've heard of this band before. I'm just gonna grab this too. Um, so after I did that, I took them home and I listened to those CDs like constantly. And I just like I don't know why. I like made the pact like I'm gonna get into heavy music. And like all I listened to from that point on was rock radio. So like I would only turn on rock radio in the car because I wanted to learn about all these bands. And I have just like I said, I don't know if it's some kind of divine intervention or something. I've just always been one of those people who like when I get into something, I want to do it. Like I don't just want to be like a fan or a bystander. Like when I got into motocross, I like asked my parents, "Can I ride dirt bikes?" Like I just want to like do everything. So I just randomly was in the car listening to rock radio with my mom one day, and I was like, I don't know why, I just was like, I want to play guitar. And she was like, okay. And like a week later, I started lessons, and that was it. Like it was just like after that, I never put the guitar down. It was like just a instant life-changing moment. I don't know. And like I said, I didn't think about it. Like I never was like, what instrument do I want to play? You know, and like trying to, I just literally was in the car and was like, guitar. It's so bizarre. So I say I was meant to do it. That's why that happened that way. I don't know.
I love that. I'm like smiling ear to ear because I grew up going to private school too, and
Yeah.
uniforms, Catholic school, and no shit, I would wear a Thursday hoodie over my uniform and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. No, like
Like,
it's funny. I would always wear band tees under my button up.
yeah,
And they even got to a point in my school where they like said no one could wear band t-shirts anymore because I was always wearing them. And like what I would do is like as soon as the school day was over, I would take off my uniform shirt and
yeah,
just have my band shirt on. I don't
hell
know
yeah.
why. I don't know if it just made me feel so like, I just part of something. Like I loved it. So every day I would wear a Metallica shirt or a Corn shirt or a Lamb of God shirt, something under my uniform. Just
I love that.
yeah.
And you mentioned being, immediately, so obsessed with the guitar,
Mhm.
playing it all the time, really diving into that love. Who were some of your early guitar gods? Like, who would you say were like the big four, like rock or metal guitarists that you looked up to the most? And then what is it kind of about their playing and presence that sort of spoke to you as a young musician and even today now?
Ooh, that's a tough one because I went through so many players when I first started. Definitely Kirk Hammett
Hmm.
and James Hetfield. Like Metallica was the band that got like I was into a lot of bands. Like I was getting into a lot of bands, but Metallica was the first band that I truly like became obsessed with. I know that's like everyone's story, but it's just true. Every day I would come home and watch from school. I'd come home and watch Live Shit, Binge and Purge, and just
Hmm.
like the freaking Saint Anger documentary. It didn't matter any
Hell
of
yeah.
the Metallica stuff. And I think what I like so much about them is obviously I love their songs. I feel like I learned to play guitar to the Master of Puppets record. Like I bought the tab book and just learned as many riffs as I could over and over again. Um, but I really like that they were such good entertainers too. Like on stage, like they weren't just playing, like they were putting on really good shows and high energy, and it just like I learned so much watching them. So that's the holy grail. um and then like other big ones, like it fluctuated a lot for me because like I said, I was like learning so much about different bands at the time. But some that stick out, I mean, like Dave Mustaine,
Mm.
Zach Wild, even Matt Hafey from Trivium was a big one for me at the time. uh Head and Monkey from Corn, Joe from Gojira. Like it was just so I was like I just loved all those guys. Jim Root and Mick Thompson, they all my favorites today were like the guys that really inspired me, Dimebag.
So cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I totally hear the DNA like in your guitar style too, of like
Yeah.
those Jim Root and like Mick Thompson parts and like definitely some of the Zach Wild stuff with some of the squealy stuff. Like so
Yeah.
sick. Like that's so
Thank
cool.
you.
I love that.
Tetrarch has roots going all the way back to 2007 in Atlanta. How did you and Josh kind of first link up, and what were your shared, influences and goals that maybe brought the two of you together as co-founders of the band? And what was the kind of original, for lack of a better term, mission statement or vision that has kind of evolved over time between the two of you?
Yeah, so Josh actually went to the private school that I went to. So
Oh.
that's how I met him. And honestly, he was just the pretty much one of the only kids in the entire school that even remotely liked anything that was rock.
Mm.
related. Like he wasn't
Okay.
a metalhead at the time. His dad introduced him to Metallica, so we had a shared love of Metallica. That was also his favorite band. But other than that, he was really into like a lot of the bands his dad listened to, like Pearl Jam and Green Day is also his like other all-time favorite band. So like Green Day and Live and like
Mm.
U2 bands like that were was his thing. And so but he played guitar and like he had like this knockoff uh like Explorer. I think it was like burgundy colored, like James Hetfield, that he would like bring to school sometimes and play. It was called like a Hammer by Kramer or something. I don't
Oh
even
yeah,
remember.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But he would bring that to school all the time and he would play it. And so I was just kind of like at that time I was like finding my identity in heavy music and I just knew like okay, this is my new thing. So I just wanted to get to know him because it was the closest thing I had. Like everybody else like country and like whatever. So he was in one of my classes and he laughs about this too. The very first interaction we ever had, he was sitting in front of me, like his desk was the desk in front of me, and I like he was leaning back his chair on my desk and I like pulled my desk back so it makes you feel like you're gonna fall backwards. And he looked at me like, who the hell, like who are you and why'd you do that to me? And that's literally like the first time we ever like spoke. I like I said, weird divine intervention stuff. I don't know why I did it. But from then on, like it kind of like opened the door to conversation. Um, and we had a mutual friend named Tyler who actually was like our first drummer when the band started. And he used to jam with Tyler. Like Tyler was his best friend. They played baseball together. And I asked Tyler, I was just like, hey, I kind of want to. And I couldn't have been very good at all at this point, but I was like, hey, I really want to be in a band. And I know you guys play together because I used to play at like the talent show
Mhm.
at school and stuff like that. So I was like, I'd really love to jam with you guys. Uh, and Tyler was like, okay, I'll ask Josh. And Josh, like at the time, he keep in mind we were like 11. He was like, I don't want a girl in the band.
Mm.
So like
Oh.
I was like crushed. I remember I went home and like told my dad, I was like, he said he doesn't want a girl in the band, but Tyler like convinced him. He was like, I really think we should give her a shot. So like I went over to their house like a couple weekends later or something. And Tyler's dad actually was also like a musician. So they had like their basement was had like a rehearsal room in it. And we played covers like I don't know, old time rock and roll, like stuff that was like three chords,
Cool.
that Tyler's dad was like, try this, you know what I mean? Uh and Josh said at that moment, it's so funny thinking back now, but he's like, at that moment, I knew like that was the band. And it's like I said, we didn't play anything remotely heavy. It was probably all clean, just three chorded like covers. And that kind of is how it kicked off, honestly. We were in that basement every weekend from then on. So
I love that
So
so much.
wholesome.
So
Yeah,
it
that's
is
so
so
cute.
wholesome.
I can just imagine like jamming like Smoke on the Water or something like that
Yeah,
in the
exactly. It was
garage.
pretty much it was stuff like that. I think like we graduated to like Green Day
Yeah.
stuff, and like Rancid. I think we played like Roots Radical,
Oh, cool.
and
Yeah.
yeah, that was like a cover, and we did like Green Day's like American Idiot or Holiday, just like pretty easy stuff. Like as we kept progressing, you know, getting into harder and harder stuff, but we like really like learned how to play guitar somewhat together. Learned how to be a band together and play music together. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's beautiful. And with the band coming up in Atlanta, Atlanta
Mhm.
has always, been a fertile ground for heavy music,
Mhm.
whether that be Mastodon, Seven Dust, and even the stuff that was going on in the mid 2000s, like Norma Jean and the
Mhm.
Chariot, like some
Yeah.
incredible bands, some of my favorite bands.
Yeah.
And, all coming from that area. How did growing up in that scene and starting to play shows sort of shape your identity and development as a band and, as an artist as well?
Yeah. It's interesting because we always felt a bit like, and it's weird to say that we felt like it when we were so young and just starting, but like kind of like underdogs, or like kind of like the outcast of the local scene.
Okay.
We were always this band of like we took things more seriously than a lot of bands, and it in the local when we were in the local scene in Atlanta, and I feel like it put a lot of them off. Like
Mm,
we were the band that we would play like a show and we would film every show. There could be three people there and we would film it. And as soon as we were done, we would go home and watch it. And
nice.
we would like look at what we did and be like, oh, that was bad. Or like, how can we fix this or whatever. And like a lot of bands would like go party after. And I guess they thought like we were just like too good for them. So it
Mm,
was like always this weird thing where it was like we didn't like fully fit in. Like we had some bands at the time, obviously that they never did anything, but like there were bands at the time that we tried to hang out with, that we started playing shows with and stuff. But we always felt like they didn't really like us or something. I don't know.
mm,
It was always this weird thing. So it was like we weren't super connected with like other musicians in Atlanta per se. Like we were maybe for a little while when we first started. Um but really it just was a place of like that's just kind of where we learned to be a band because we played we got to a point where we would book and play shows Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of every weekend. So of being out of school. So like whether it was I know you mentioned like Norma Jean and all those type of bands, even like the Devil Wears Prada and stuff like that at the
yeah.
time were coming through this venue in Douglasville called the Seven
Yeah.
in Atlanta. And so or outside of Atlanta, that's where all the like kind of scene bands would go play.
Mhm.
So it was like a big hub for that at the time. We played that venue. That was actually where we played our very first show, like our
Oh,
very
cool.
first real show. We played it at that
Mm.
venue. Um, and then obviously we have the Masquerade in Atlanta, where like
Yeah.
pretty much every other mid-sized band would go through.
Hmm.
So that's where we initially made our Atlanta home, and we played there all the time.
Yeah.
So we really feel a connection with like just that's where we learned to be a band. That's where we played hundreds and hundreds of shows every weekend. Um, but as far as like the other musicians, like we always, like I said, had this very like we felt like the outcasts because we just always felt like we had such a different mindset from the start, you know.
Yeah. And then y'all obviously made the move to LA,
Mhm.
after that. When did you guys actually move to LA?
We moved to LA like right after pretty much like right after high school.
Wow.
So yeah, we were just like there was no because like in our day, it's like now it's like you don't have to, in the 80s and stuff,
Yeah.
they said like you needed to be in LA like
Yeah.
because everything was in LA. And now it's not necessarily like that. You can be anywhere pretty much because of the internet and all of that. But when we moved, it was more so just like just a just to be kind of close to everything in a like convenient sense, like
Mhm.
for our band, like just like I don't know, anything you need is just like right out here, whether it's like merchandise or agents or whatever, they're just all right around here. And as a growing band, we were like, let's just go out there. It's a nice change of pace for us. And we needed something to shake things up a little bit. So we moved out of the comfort of just Atlanta. And it was a good move for us. We grew exponentially in the time, in that time. But yeah, it was just like basically kind of like right out of high school. So
Nice. That's
yeah.
that's crazy. Yeah, just moving straight out of high school to LA. Like I can't even imagine like the sort of like almost like the culture shock that you would feel like moving at that young of an age to LA. Like I moved to LA when I was 23 and that was hard enough. Like,
Yeah.
through
Yeah,
the
I
other
mean,
gates.
it's like I tell people a lot. I grew up coming to LA like almost every summer with my parents. So
Yeah.
it was kind of like a second home to me. My
Yeah.
mom lived out here for a long time before I was born. My dad lived out here for a good amount of time. So it was kind of like a second home to me, but moving, what made it easier was the fact that I did it with the band. Like
Yeah.
those are like my brothers and like my best friends. So it was like I didn't feel like I was moving alone. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I feel like if I had to do it like by myself, I would have been so nervous and like
Yeah.
whatever. But having them, it felt really seamless.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That, that's awesome.
Yeah. So let's jump into it. Your upcoming third album, The Ugly Side of Me, drop next month. What can you tell us about the kind of writing and recording process behind it, especially with you and Josh co-producing? And what would you say is the overarching theme and emotional thread that really ties this whole record together?
Yeah, so it took us about, I don't know. So we did our last tour with Seven Dust in 2022, and we played like some like festivals, Louder Life, Welcome to Rockville, and all that year. And then after that, we were like, okay, let's go work on a new record. So 2023 was basically spent writing the record, and then going into 2024 we started going to the studio and recording the record. And we went to the studio, we record in Denver. um we went like 3 times, I guess. So we had like 3 sessions there, and each were like, the first one was like 2 months maybe or 3 months,
Wow.
and the next one was like a month, and the next one was like a few weeks. Like, we are literally the slowest band in the studio on planet Earth, and like, I am fully aware. But we like to take our time, and we just like to like make sure like we like what we come out with, and we don't want to rush something out and be like, oh, we should have done this. So we took our time, and it was definitely a process, like coming off of Unstable did a lot for our band, and it was
Yeah,
like just like it came out during the pandemic, which was weird, but it was like a really good time for our band, which is weird to say because like it wasn't a good time for a lot of people.
sure.
And so I hate even being like it was a really good time for our band, but
No, we get it. Yeah, no,
yeah, but
totally.
for some reason we grew like exponentially during the pandemic. And so there was a bit of like the pressure with this record. You always like when you have a good record, the next one thing you do, you're like, there's pressure, and you're like, oh, we gotta top this. So that pressure was definitely there, writing this record and recording this record. But uh we're really excited about it. I think it explores a lot of like the name, The Ugly Side of Me. It explores a lot of the things like, everybody has things about themselves that they don't love, something about themselves they don't love, whether they say it or not. Um, and it just kind of explores like learning to accept those things, or if it's something you want to change, having the strength to change those things, and just like moving forward in the best way you can in life. It kind of just like, but it also has like a hopeful tone of like, you know, you can do whatever you put your mind to, and just having like the will to make those changes if you want to. So that's kind of what it's about. But it was a process, but we're definitely, proud of what we came up with. So
For sure.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm excited for it. Kind of piggybacking off that, do you have a personal favorite track on this upcoming album? And if so, what kind of makes that song stand out to you, or kind of like why would you feel like you're most connected to it right now, with your current journey?
Yeah. Let's see. It's all of us, I think, have like, it's funny, all of us have like different favorites.
Hmm.
Me and my drummer, Ruben, we tend to be like kind of the heavier heads of the band. Like, we like the heavier side of things usually. And then my bass player and Josh tend to always like the like more like, the other side of things the most. I guess that's why we have such a like wide dynamic range.
Mhm.
Uh but for me, I would just say one would probably be Live Not Fantasize, and I would say because of the fact that I'm just really stoked on how that solo came out, the guitar solo in the song. That's such a like a guitar player thing to say, but like I just think it's like I was really proud of that solo. It came out super cool, and like we play like a style of music, a lot of people like to call us new metal or whatever. That doesn't really it didn't really have guitar solos, you know what I mean? Like, that's not like a subgenre you relate to guitar with guitar solos.
Very true.
So I had to like really try to learn and come up with ways to incorporate guitar solos into our songs without like any kind of blueprint. You know what I mean? So it was like
Yeah.
I just had to, which was it's good because you come up with your own style. Um, but when finished the Live Not Fantasize solo, I was just like really stoked on it. It's like weird, but it's weird enough to where it fits a like an industrial sounding song like that. But it also has like some elements of like you know, big like traditional guitar solos in there as well. So I don't know. I think that's a big part of it. And also it's the first time we have like pushed the industrial element a little bit in one of our songs. Um and it was just something new and cool and different to try. Uh so yeah, I think that would probably be my first, and then the second one just taste wise, I just love anything like myself.
Mhm.
Um that's another one that I like. I like the chorus is cool, the leads are super cool in it, so
Absolutely. I really am fascinated by what you just said about new metal and sort of
mhm.
the absence of guitar solos, because that's something, I grew up listening to so much new metal, and it's
Yeah.
something I never really thought about, to be honest, because you're right. Like it is such rhythmically based music, not so much, guitar virtuoso stuff going on, with a lot of
Right.
new metal. That's really, really interesting because it's like maybe like what a guitar solo would be in like an old new metal band would just be like something like a little bit minimal, but it's more like effects based, like a lot of
Right.
chorus and phaser and like weird shit. That's really interesting. I never really thought about that before. It's just very
Yeah,
fascinating to me.
exactly. It's like there's a lot of the, we have a lot of the like eerie leads, like you said, the
Yeah.
effects based like corn kind of lead
Yeah.
stuff. Which I always love putting textures on things. Like I'm obsessed. I can like go in my room and just put textures on on songs all day long. I don't know why, but
Yeah.
um we've always had guitar solos. Even like when we started our band, I laugh with people a lot because we were like a straight thrash metal band when we started
Yeah.
in high school and stuff. Like 8 minute songs, 2 minute guitar solos, like straight off Rust in Peace. Like that is like the type of band we were, and uh we never wanted to get rid of the guitar solo thing. Even as we evolved, people just love seeing me solo, and I really enjoy playing guitar solos too. But it was about kind of learning how to like modernize it and like learning how to evolve them with our sound. So I had to figure out a way because we couldn't get rid of them, and I didn't want to get rid of them.
Yeah.
So it's always rewarding to like come up with something that fits, and you're like, hell yeah, like we're really doing this thing. Like we're fitting guitar solos and this stuff. So that it's pretty cool.
That is cool. And I
Yeah.
had a question later on, but I'll just kind of get to it now. Like you mentioned new metal, obviously people have labeled the band that. What do you sort of make of those statements? Because, that's something I ask a lot of artists that have been, put that label has been put on them before. And, a lot of people have said, Tetrarch is sort of leading this new metal revival.
Mhm.
How does that sort of make you feel? Is that something that you feel is somewhat accurate, or is it something that you sort of would say like that's maybe not exactly it? How does that sort of feel for you to be told that you are sort of leading some kind of revival of this?
I don't. I truly don't care or mind.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of people like run from that. Like one of my favorite new bands like albums that they had was Smile by Cane Hill. Like I love that record. But I feel like when they started calling them new metal, they like took off running from like that
Yeah.
whole, and I thought it was really cool. Like, and I know them, so like they're not, they won't get mad at me for saying that. But
No, no.
I for us, it was so genuine to us. Like when we wrote Freak and even like wrote Unstable, it was just literally what came out. Like the songs that we wrote, or we didn't sit down and say like, let's make a new metal record. You know what I mean? It was like we wrote a batch of songs, and when we put them out, that's what people received from them. And press started saying like, oh shit, this sounds like new metal. So because it's authentic, I don't mind. You know what I mean? Like they could, like I say all the time, they could call us country pop metal, and I'd be like, cool. You know what I mean? Like if that's what you get from it, like it doesn't bother me. You're talking about us, so cool. Like you can call us whatever you want. I don't really care. And honestly, I know that a lot of people take when they hear the name new metal, they think of like all the cringy things about it, and they're like,
Yeah.
ugh. But I don't. Like literally, the bands that were called new metal, were some of the biggest bands our genre has ever seen, and
Hmm.
still some of them, still the biggest. Korn, Slipknot, Limp Bizkit, all of them.
Hmm.
And I just love the fact that those bands, like, they are basically like what we call crossover metal bands. Like, people who aren't into maybe metal can digest it and get into those bands, and it helps them get into heavier stuff. And we've always wanted to be a band like that ourselves. We love being able to be heavy, but also have big choruses, and
Hmm.
where a metal fan can listen and be like, "Oh, this is the shit," but like a somebody who thinks that they hate all metal can listen to it and be like, "Oh, this is metal too. Oh, I kind of like this." Like, we love that because that's what we needed to have when we got into heavy music. We needed that gateway. Um, so honestly, I'm proud of it. Like, I don't mind it at all. It does. Hey, I'll wave the flag. It's fine.
No, I love that. Like it shouldn't be a dirty word anymore. And I think
Yeah.
what's so cool is that it is now, so many critics are kind of going back in time and revisiting some of those records and seeing how great they were. Maybe at the time, people were skeptical of new metal in like 2001 or 2002. But
Yeah.
now the gatekeepers of today, the journalists, the people working at labels are now people our age, and
Yeah.
we grew up on that shit and we're like, what, this was actually very good music. And
Right.
it's similar like with emo and stuff like that. There were so many bands that like a band like Taking Back Sunday would be like, we're not an emo band, like when it was like
Yeah.
2009. But now they're
Yeah.
like, okay, yes, we
We're
are an
maybe
emo
we're an
band.
emo band.
Maybe we were an emo band,
Yeah.
like, and
Yeah.
it's okay. Like, there's something
Yeah.
wrong with that.
I
Like,
know.
yeah. Thank you for going on that journey with me about new metal.
No, no, it's totally fine. Like I said, I love it. Those people ask me now, they're like, what are you listening to these days? And I'm like, Slipknot. Like, I'm still like listening to the same shit, like, so
Yeah.
like I love it. And I don't, like I said, I'm not wearing, a skirt with sequins, bright yellow, whatever. Like, I don't know. I don't feel like we like are making a gimmick of anything. Like,
No.
we literally just play the music we love, and try to put on the best shows we can. And if that's new metal, then hell yeah.
Yeah, like, no one's wearing Janko jeans or Adidas tracksuits,
Dude, I used to wear
Like,
Jinko jeans all the time when I was a kid, and they were sick
hell
back
yeah, they
then.
are. Now everyone's wearing them now. I went to Coachella this last weekend and it was like I saw people in Janko jeans. I'm
That's
like, it's
so
back.
crazy.
Like,
It's nuts.
it's so sick. And then, another thing about this new record is you actually made your vocal debut on Never
Mhm.
Again. You know, what kind of inspired you to step up to the mic for the first time? And what was that experience like? And, does it feel like now that you've done it, we can expect to hear some more Diamond vocals on future Tetrarch material?
Yeah, so for years Josh has been like trying to get me to sing something, like he's like, "Oh, you should sing this verse or this chorus." And I was just like so terrified of that. I was like, "No," like,
Mhm.
I'm not. So the last record I sang some backup on a couple stuff, like some harmonies, on a couple of songs, and even there's some like on You Never Listen, and a couple songs I did some like small vocal parts that no one probably knows is me, but it's me. Um, and so this record, again, Josh was like, "I think it'd be cool, if you try to sing on, a couple of these songs. Maybe we just see which one sounds
Mhm.
cool." Um, and I do feel like it was just the right time too, because I feel like on previous records, if we had have thrown that idea around, I wouldn't have been like as willing. I'd be like, "Oh, I don't want to do it." But I think with how much we grew on the last record, your confidence kind of changes, and you
Yeah.
start to just get to a point where you're like, "Oh, okay, fuck it." And like, you just like, he was like, "Hey, you should try to go sing a couple of these verses." I'm like, "Cool, yeah, let's do it." You know what I mean? And I wasn't afraid of it, or like, I was just like, let's see what happens. And so it came out sounding pretty cool on a couple songs, and it's just something that like people haven't heard before. It was cool to give them something that like it's just new and fresh, they hadn't heard before. So when it comes on, people are like, "Wait a minute, is that Diamond?" You know what I mean? So yeah, it was cool. It opened a little bit of doors for some stuff. I think there's a couple other places on the record where I sing too. So yeah, so far people have dug it. So
It
that's good.
sounds great. Yeah. I'm like, when
Thank
I
you.
first heard it, I was like, why are you holding back on us for the last few albums?
Yeah, I had to wait till I was ready to
Yeah.
unleash the beast, you know.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Well, you made history as the first ever female Jackson signature artist. I would love to know how that partnership kind of came to life and what was that process like in designing your own guitar model from the ground up?
Yeah, so it was kind of a like it was kind of a long process because I was with another company first, and I'm a
Mhm.
like a very loyal person. I love DSP, where I was, everything.
Mhm.
But my rep at Jackson is actually he's the same guy. He's my rep at EVH amps, which
Oh,
is the
cool.
amps we use. So actually, it was like not long after got with ESP some years ago. It was probably like a couple months. He hit me up and was like, "Hey, I want to know if you wanted to try some Jacksons." This was before we were even with EVH, and I was like, "Oh, I'm with ESP, blah blah blah." He's like, "Oh, okay." So I ended up just talking to him. We ended up joining EVH, and Mike and me, we've been cool for years, like with the through amps and getting amps from him and everything. But over the years, every so often, he would just be like, "Let me know when you want to try some Jacksons out," and I'd be like, "Oh yeah, I will. It's all good. I'm good where I am." Um, and I believe we were on the Seven Dust tour, and he's probably gonna be like, "Don't tell the story because it sounds like I poached you," but he didn't. I think we were on the Seven Dust tour, and I remember he called me and he wanted to talk to me about potentially doing like a signature model for me. And I still kind of like blew it off. I was just like, yeah, I'll think about it. But that has always been kind of like a dream of mine to have a signature
Yeah.
model. Especially when I started playing guitar, all of my favorite players had signature models, like more than now, whether it was like Zach Wild or Mark Morton or everybody had like signature models. Like I would go to shows and I would see their guitars on the stage before them, and I'd be like, oh, that's so and so's guitar. Like that was just a thing I always wanted. Um, so I started becoming like open to like talking to them about it. I was like, we'll talk about it, whatever. And what they did is they started, this was like in 2023 maybe. They, they sent me just a ton of Jacksons to just like 15 Jacksons just to like, they're like, any Jackson you want to try out, we just want you to try them, play them, just let us know what you think, blah blah blah. So they sent me all these guitars and I ended up just demoing and basically writing the whole new record with Jacksons. Like just because like there was so many of them coming in, I was just
Yeah.
trying out different ones. And I started really getting acquainted with them and like falling in love with them and all of that. So that process took a while, but it was like tormenting because I was like, fuck, like, like I'm with this company and like I really do love them and like they've been so great to me. But also this is like something that's really cool and it means a lot to me in my career and like
Mhm.
the brand of who I am is something that I really wanted. So after like talking that out and figuring it out, I decided to make the move, and it was awesome. Like working with them, it was amazing. They were like, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to call the thing. I love to go fishing, so they're like, if you want to put a fish on this thing, have at it.
Hell
And
yeah.
they basically just let me give them every spec that I wanted on the guitar, color, finish, didn't matter. And they built me a like a custom shop, an American custom shop. And once I like approved that and said I liked it, then they started sending me production models to make sure that was good, the ones that were going to be for sale. And yeah, it was a long process, but it was really cool. Stressful at times because I was just like so nervous. But it was very cool, and like I feel so honored that like I'm able to do this.
That's
Yeah,
so
what a
cool.
unique opportunity. This is a really random question that I just am totally derailing, but I have to ask because I'm such a loyal person as well. What is your zodiac sign?
I'm an Aries, actually.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm an Aquarius.
Are you?
And Aquariuses are like it is so hard. We are so loyal. And
Yeah.
as you were talking, I'm like, this is something I would totally do. Like in my own business, I would be like, "Ah, this is really great, but and this company is being really great to me, even though this
Yeah.
company has something else I really do need. But man, I don't want to leave them. Like I'm so loyal to like to my own detriment sometimes. So as you were saying, and you were like, it was taking forever.
Oh, it took forever.
I
I was
I
like,
sympathize.
I was like I said, just I was dreading the conversation with ESP. I just
Yeah.
because I do truly look at them as family. Like, you know what I mean? I love them all so much. But it when it became like an undeniable thing that I needed to do,
Yeah.
and like the people closest to me were like, you got to do this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, but it wasn't like like sometimes I'm like nervous. I'm like, I hope they don't think I was just like signature, hell yeah, see ya, because it definitely wasn't that. It was like
No.
probably a year of me just being like, I don't know, I can't do this. I can't do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
But like I said, I'm super happy with the fact that I did, and I know it was the best thing for me, and it's been great so far. Jackson has been amazing. Everybody I work with there has been absolutely amazing. Um, so it was just getting over the hump of doing it, but we're good now. So
For sure. You know, what is it about your signature model that you love so much? Like, is it like what would you say is like your favorite characteristic of it, whether that be cosmetic or even down to like the tone and the pickups and whatnot with this model?
I would say there's like two main things. One, I would say is just overall, it's literally like for the most part, other than a couple little new things that I added, what Diamond has been playing, what I've been playing since I was 15. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
think that's really cool because it's like I wanted whatever had my name on it to be genuinely like what I play, what I've toured with, what I've learned to be in a band with, like what's comfortable to me.
Hmm.
I wanted people who bought that guitar who are fans of Diamond to like really be holding something that I like, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that's cool, but like cosmetic wise, one of my favorite things is just like the top and the finish.
Hmm.
A lot of like single cut or Les Paul shaped guitars, they have like quilt maple tops or the
Hmm.
flame maple or flame tops or whatever. I didn't want to do that. I was like, oh, they all have that. I want to do something different. So they let me do like a poplar burl top, which kind of has like it looks kind of smoky. Like the top of it looks
Hmm.
like it's like kind of smoke, which is pretty cool. And it's like this like, red into black smoky color. And when you just open the case up, especially like when you get it brand new, it's beautiful. It's like such a pretty color. Um, so that's probably like one of my favorite things. Also, like I've never had a guitar with like lumen lay fret dots, like the glow in the dark fret dots on the neck,
Yeah.
which is super sick, and we added it to it. So that's always a shock, like when I'm on a dark stage or something, and I look down, I'm like, hell yeah, I can see. You know what I mean? Like I've just never had those on my guitar.
Yeah.
So it's just little things like that. I didn't do anything super crazy that like I've never had on a guitar before that I'm just like, now's my chance. Like I really wanted it to be like a guitar that I is comfortable to me, that I play, that I love, and I think that's what we accomplished. So
For sure.
yeah.
What tuning do you find yourself playing in often? Because obviously, like watching you do playthroughs and with this guitar and everything, like you're clearly tuning pretty low. I'm just
Yeah.
curious.
We're in drop A.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So pretty fucking low.
Yeah, yeah, especially for a six string, that's
Yeah.
pretty low, yeah.
I mean, you mentioned Slipknot, so I mean, it's like
Yeah,
that's
and even
that's drop
Slipknot,
A city.
even
Like,
Slipknot, so their whole Iowa record is pretty much in drop A, and then
yeah,
like the rest of their stuff is in drop B, most of it.
yeah.
Uh, but for some reason, when we wrote "I'm Not Right," maybe on the last record, it was in drop A. I think that was the one. And I don't know, I just liked how like mangy it sounded, kind of, especially on a six string. I feel like it keep like when we moved up to try to play it on a seven string, it like it sounded a little too like perfect. And I
Yeah.
felt like on the six string, it kept a little of the character of our playing, a little of like mangledness because it's on a six string and tuned so low. Even though we use Evertunes and stuff, but we just like the playability of a six string. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So I imagine you're probably using like really, really low gate like strings, like for sure for that.
What's interesting is Josh uses 13s, I think. So his are pretty thick, 13 to 60 or something. But
Yeah.
I actually don't. I use 11s to 54. Like
Whoa.
they're pretty like small for that tuning, but because we use Evertune, that's how I'm able to get away with it because
Yeah.
it retains that tension. But if it wasn't for that, they would be so just flimsy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Speaking of guitars and styles and techniques, is there anything that you've always wanted to master, like as a guitar player, that you're still, aiming to push yourself to accomplish as a player? And also, is there a current guitar trend that you see happening right now that you're like, this isn't it? You know what I'm saying?
just cut it. No.
Yeah.
Um, uh, so I would say when I was younger, I really like in high school and stuff, like everyone knew how to sweep so good. Like
Yeah.
there would be players that they were like not good players, but they knew how to sweep. And like for some reason, I just like could not master that for some reason. I'm just like, this is not my thing. Like I
Mhm.
just try to sweep and I'm just like, I don't, maybe I didn't practice it enough. I don't know. It's just something I didn't pick up on. So I used to always be like, man, if I could just do that. Now I'm kind of like, fuck it. I don't, if this is, maybe it's just never going to happen. You know what I mean? But like, I used to want to become really good at that. Like, I would see players just sweeping up and
Yep.
all up and down the fretboard. And I would just be like, I guess I'm not good. And now I'm just like, so I guess if there was anything I would say like, okay, it would be cool to actually just like learn to do that well and not be crappy at that. Um and as far as a trend that I see, I just honestly I'm all for people playing how they want to play and stuff. I guess maybe just like sometimes well, I feel like we might be kind of heading out of this phase, but for a while it was like the how technical you are like dictated how good you were as a player. So like
Mm.
there was just
Mm.
guitar players all over the internet that were just like playing just psycho stuff for like 3 whole minutes of a song. And I'm just like, that's cool. Like you're good, but like I don't remember the song at all. You know what I mean? It was just like
Yeah.
and everyone was doing it. So there was no like originality in it. It was just like all these guys playing the same technical stuff,
Mhm.
over and over. I feel like now they're starting to kind of head out of that trend now, I will
Yeah.
say. But for a while I just would be like, oh God, just like guitar vomit all day.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I feel like now like there's a little bit more like I feel like we're heading back towards like a good songwriting based, you know, world of heavy music, which is cool because that's my preference. Like I love a good song, heavy
Yeah.
song with a big chorus, like that's my thing. So I think we're doing okay now.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the most important thing, right? Like the song at the end of the day, not
Yeah. I mean
Yeah.
for me anyway.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. And one of the questions we love to ask on this podcast, if you could collaborate with any artist across any genre, who would it be, or what would your dream tour lineup if you could build it yourself, or if there's a band out there, probably Slipknot, that Diamond wants to go on tour with? Who is it?
So like a dream lineup, and this is just silly, but it would probably be something like us and Metallica and Gojira and Korn and Slipknot. Like if I could just like put all those bands and maybe throw Lamb of God in there, I would literally watch the entire like 4 hour, 5 hour show
Yeah.
every single night because it would be so long. But that would just be just a blast. Like I would
That
love
would be
that.
amazing. Yeah,
Um,
Metallica is like one of my all-time favorites. I can watch their set every time they play the whole time. Like
yeah.
I love Metallica.
I
It's
every
so
time they
sick.
play, every time I hear Ecstasy of Gold, like I just start to tear up at shows. I'm like, I'm just such a nerd. Like I'm like, oh my God, they're coming. Like I don't like fangirl over like really anybody. Like I love meeting my hero, like my inspirations.
Mhm.
But like I'm
Mhm.
not like a oh my God, type of
Yeah.
person. But like Metallica, I still get like this like if Lars walks by or like when they're coming on stage or something, I still get that feeling of like just this pit in my stomach of like, oh my gosh, like it's freaking Metallica. Um,
Yeah.
so
One
I,
of
I feel
my
that.
yeah, one of my Metallica stories where I started crying and my now husband at the time boyfriend was like, "Are you okay?" I
He's like,
started like getting emotional during Creeping Death. And he's like, "This is
like
the
the
heavy,"
die
because he
part.
looks over and he's just like, "Oh my, like this is sick." And I had so it was Aftershock and it was like the first time Purdy Cult had a booth there and I was just like really overwhelmed with like joy that I got to, even though I just had a booth and it was like my first time sponsoring, that I got to be a part of this festival that like Metallica was playing in like a bigger
Yeah,
way besides an attendee. And I was watching it with him and I just like got really overwhelmed and emotional because Metallica is also a childhood band for me. You mentioned it earlier with your bandmate, but like I got into music because of my dad and some of my fondest childhood memories are being in the car with my dad and him playing Metallica.
yeah.
And yeah, Creeping Death just came on and I don't know what it was, but the tears started flowing. Scared Kevin and he was like, is something wrong? Did something happen at the booth? Do we need to go? And I'm like, no, I'm just really happy right now. Thank you. Just let me watch Creeping Death and cry.
I
And
get it so much.
he's like, okay.
I get it because like I've teared up during the die chant of Creeping Death 1,000,000%. When everyone's like
Yes.
die, die, and James Hetfield's up there like,
Die.
and I'm like, oh my God, like it's just like I can't even like describe it, but it's nuts. I probably cried like 4 times the last time I saw Metallica, and like I said, I truly don't like. I love bands immensely. There's some bands that I just love to my core, but I'm not
Yeah.
crying. Like
Yeah.
Metallica,
Yeah.
I am tearing up, like weeping, because it's just like such a, like you said, it's like a full circle thing too. Because I
Mhm.
know when I watch that band, like I literally wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that band. Like I would not be playing music. I would not be able to do this for a living. Who knows what I'd be doing, like as far as like a
Right.
career. But they truly like inspired me to like do this 100%. So like when I see them, like all those feelings like come back. I'm like, oh my gosh, I think of myself being like 12 and 13 learning their music and like how much joy it gave me and passion it gave me, and I'm just like it's too much. Like so,
Yeah.
you know,
I'm so
they're
happy to
they're the first metal show I ever went to. Summer Sanitarium 2003 was like the very first.
Nice.
So
Wow.
like yeah, all that just comes back.
I
Oh my
love that
God.
so
Well, I was
much.
like so happy to have met another Metallica crier because I haven't met one yet. So,
No
but now I
way.
know
Oh,
one.
we're out there. We are out there.
I love that. And not as cool as y'all, but I'm going to both nights of the Oasis reunion shows.
Nice.
And I guarantee you I will be crying. I'll be like that video of when the Beatles played in like Liverpool that first time where all the girls are crying and fainting. That will be me.
That's you out there just crying when Oasis is playing.
I'll be on a stretcher probably. Like I
Oh
just don't
my
even
God.
think like I will literally like I will faint. Like it's gonna be unreal.
That is
I'm
gonna
ready
be
for it.
that's gonna be nuts, especially having it over there and like it's gonna be great. Like those tickets sold out so fast. It's gonna be nuts.
I'm stoked. It's five. I live in South Pasadena, and so I live right by the Rose Bowl, and I'm going both nights, and I'm like, I can walk there. It's gonna
Yeah,
be fucking incredible.
that's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that you make it through the show. and
I'll
not on a
try.
stretcher.
Yeah, I'll try. I'll try. No, probably no guarantees, but just a couple more quick questions.
Yeah.
Outside of music, what does a typical day look like for you? What are some of your interests and hobbies that sort of keep you grounded and inspired when you're not writing or on the road? I think you mentioned you love fishing.
I do love to fish. And like someone asked me this, me and Josh were on an interview together like a few days ago, and someone asked us this question. And I was like, honestly, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I truly have yet to really figure out how to decompress from from like music and like what we do, because it's like we've always been such a hands-on band.
Hmm.
So like every facet of our band, like I'm just my nose is in it, every day. So it's not like I'm just able to like go to rehearsals or go on tour and then come home and just be like, time to rest. It's like I'm like, we got to get these. When are we gonna get these vinyl orders? And when are we gonna like? It's
Yeah.
always something else from like one thing to another. My brain, it's really hard for it to cut off because there's always something to do. Which Josh is different. He can go rot with his girlfriend at home after practice and be like just fine. I'm so not like that. I'm like texting him like we need to. But like when I am able, I do love to fish. Like that is like for some reason just the thing that I love bass fishing. And it's like I can watch videos of it. I can be doing it myself. Doesn't matter. I just like really enjoy watching fishing and fishing myself. So like if there is something that calms me and gives me like, a little getaway, it's that. I don't know why, but it is.
How sick would it be to see a Diamond Bass Pro Shop collab at
That is
some
my favorite store on
point?
planet Earth. Every time I go home to Georgia, because like the closest one to LA is in like a Rancho Cucamonga or
Yeah, it's
something.
far. It's
Yeah.
really
Yeah, so
far.
I'm like, I never go. But when I go home to Atlanta, there's one right by my parents' house, literally like 5 minute drive. And I'll just like, my parents will be like, where are you going? I'm like, Bass Pro Shops. They're like, why? I don't know. Just going to walk around. I just like, I go there and I just like look at all the fishing gear that I don't need. I have so much. And the lures and just everything. I don't know. I don't know where that came from. It's just like one of my favorite things to do.
I mean, fuck. Like, could you imagine, like, you have your own signature rod, or you could do like a
Oh,
real tree camo hat instead of it saying
So
Bass Pro, it says Tetrarch.
it
Like,
would be so
oh my
sick.
God.
I tell because we have like people that work for us like with brand deals and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and they're like, what are some of your favorite brands or stores? Bass Pro Shops. Like I
So sick.
freaking love Bass Pro Shops. So
So tight. I love that.
dude, I think there's something there that needs to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah. You
It
got to call
sounds
your management
crazy.
right after
I
this.
know, like
Yeah.
get on this.
Get
This
on
needs
But
to
I
this
think
happen.
there's
now.
a market there of like people who love rock music and fishing and
Oh
like
yeah.
absolutely crossover.
Especially
That would be so cool.
especially like in the Midwest and the South and the
Oh
East, like
yeah.
metalheads are like country kids, like
Yeah.
over there.
Yep.
So it's like it definitely crosses over.
I can't wait to see it happen. We're gonna
Thank you.
manifest it.
Put it
It's
in there.
Yeah.
Put it out
yeah,
there
We're
for me.
it's
manifesting that for
happening. It's
you.
Thank
happening.
you.
It's gonna be so sick.
Well, last couple questions. Kind of piggybacking off this one. We always kind of ask, if there's anything outside music that inspires you, if you're into film, fashion, books, besides fishing,
Hmm.
that would kind of influence, maybe your aesthetic, your energy, just, anything else you might be inspired by.
I mean, really just life in general. It could come from so many different places. I it's such a like not a fun answer, but like music is just such a like driving force in my life. Like when it
Yeah.
comes to just like you said, style or like personality. Like I've always had like a very dominant personality. I'm a very like, outspoken, dominant type of person, which is very
You're an
fitting for like
Aries, so that makes
I'm
sense.
100% Marys, which is very like fitting for the type of music that I like. I don't know. I feel like music is just like it dictates a lot about me. I love like all things black. Like my car's all black. Everything about it is black. Like I just love like aesthetics, like clothes. I still wear like whether it's Doc Martens or Vans or band t-shirts or like just being a musician and like the music that I love is just a huge driving force in my life. And like I talk about it a lot. Like I feel like people are like, you are still the same. People who have known me for years are like, you're still the same Diamond you were when you were like 14. And I'm like, I feel like I just found myself really early and I found the version of myself that I liked and that like I was proud of and like I just like stayed there. Some people might look
Yeah.
at that as a bad thing, but like I don't know. So like music was it. And so it's just like a huge it inspires me in so many different ways. Like whether it's like the type of music I'm listening to at the time or the dress of the scene of the music I'm listening to or whatever.
Hmm.
Like it's just kind of like the heartbeat of my life. I don't know.
That's
I mean,
beautiful. I
hey,
love
you know
that.
your passion and
I
you're
do.
unapologetic about it, and that's awesome, you know. And just kind of wrapping it up, with the ugly side of me about to drop. What's next? Is there anything you're allowed to share, any shows, anything the fans should also be looking out for?
Yeah, so you know, some bands just like truly love being in the studio. That's their favorite thing, writing music.
Mhm.
And then some bands just truly love touring. And like we are a touring band. Like we love to be we don't get me wrong, we love writing music, we love being in the studio, but nothing compares to touring and playing live for us. We've been doing it since we were kids, and that's just what we love. So we're looking forward to getting out on the road this summer. We already have announced some festivals overseas, Copenhagen Resurrection
Mhm.
Fest, some of the Euro festivals, and we're going to be announcing some dates probably next week for some other shows while we're over in Europe, which is going to be great. We're playing a good bit of them. And then we'll be doing a good bit of touring in the States after that. We haven't announced that yet. It'll probably be a little bit before we do, but that's coming
Heck yeah.
together nicely. And yeah, it's just going to be a good long time of touring, which we are excited about. And we can't wait to see, everyone again, finally, after a few years of being tucked away. So
Yeah, we
Awesome.
will definitely, if there is an LA show, pretty cool. We'll have to come out. Would
we,
love to
you,
see you live.
you just let me know. You can come.
Amazing. Yeah,
Thank
after we
you.
hit record, if you want to tell us where the LA show might be, that would be cool.
You know what? I don't even know yet, so I couldn't tell you if I wanted to.
Who's your booking agent? I'll ask
Yeah,
them.
let me ask him.
I love that. Well, Diamond, this has been so much fun getting to chat with you. This is awesome, and just congrats on everything and the new album and the signature model. And it's just been such a awesome thing to witness. And you know,
Thank you.
just congrats on everything. And this has been an awesome conversation. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. It was good to talk to you guys. It was fun. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.